Hello, YouTube. It's been a bit of a week, hasn't it? We began the week with Robert and Lindy Bottom. A week later, and I'm still no clearer about how old Mungo actually is. He did a drawing of birds in trees, which took a bit of figuring out, but apparently also he didn't stop talking about what a lovely time he'd had trekking around the nature reserve. So now I'm completely lost. He's either a really dense infant or a terrifically precocious toddler. Well, it matters not a jot, anyway, because we won't hear from him until he turns up in Ambridge when he's 17, and gay, and proceeds to seduce Henry or something. Good luck with that, Mungo. Over at the Bull, Jeline was hanging a banner announcing the opening ceremony of the Bat Ambridge. Lillian turned up, as apparently despite running a busy property business single-handedly, she's got hours to just turn up and help out at a pub with no customers, which already has two full-time members of staff and a barmaid. Anyway, the banner said, "Come and celebrate our insane decision." Jolene said they were trying to tempt the locals back in, which made them sound like something of Springwatch. "We left out a trail of scampi fries and some Fanta for them," she said. "We caught them on CCTV sniffing about, but then Kenton made encouraging noises at them through his megaphone and frightened them off." Talking of Kenton, he had made what sounded like a completely revolting cocktail. Cranberry juice should only be used as a cure for cystitis, and even then, only when mixed with vodka and Cointreau in the form of a cosmopolitan. It makes your mouth crinkle up, it's so sour, and is one of those weird drinks that makes you thirsty after you've drunk it. It was good enough for Emma and Gav, though, who both sat there giggling like idiots with cocktail umbrellas up their noses. "Can you hear a growling noise, Emma?" asked Gav. There was a clattering noise and Ed leapt out from behind a Shire's barrel. "Can I walk you home, Emma?" he said keenly. "Oh, sorry, Gav, I seem to have knocked your drink into your lap and kneed you in the groin there, mate." The next day, a hungover Emma called Ed over to patch up the window, as Georgie had thrown Kira through it. He wasn't busy, it was fine, he just happened to be crouched outside the French windows of Ambridge View, tying his shoelaces when she rang. "Thanks, Ed," she said. "What would I do without you? And thanks for spending a lot of money you haven't got on buying a load of tat that I bought, having been inspired by Pinterest and Mrs. Hinch. And thanks so much for reading to Kira. Oh, there was something else. What was it? Oh, yeah. I want a divorce. Could you pop round tomorrow and fill the glass for me? Bye." We got a shot of one storyline. One single storyline. Jolly finally told Krusty and Linda that Freddie was not trying to sell him drugs. He was trying to flush his packet of spam away down the book. So can we let it go now? No, because we're now doing that bloody technique again, where the person who wants to say a thing doesn't say it, so a misunderstanding limps on. If I've messed up and I need to apologise, I begin the conversation with the words, "Look, I'm really sorry." I know it's done for plotical reasons, but I am positive that it is one of the things that make listeners throw things. Freddie is leaving Auntie Shula and has the dubious honour of taking the room that used to be Hannah's at number 1 the Green. He will lie there under his Top Gear duvet cover, the old Top Gear, not the new one, staring up at the ceiling and wondering what that buzzing noise is coming from under the bed, what Hannah did with all those butcher's hooks, and whether Johnny knows which app it is that makes clothes get clean again and folded and back in your chest of drawers. Over at Gay Grable's, Mr. McLeod in room 103 is complaining about moths hitting him with coat hangers. I love the fact that Roy and Oliver find it so hilarious that they clearly run a total shambles of a place and all their guests hate them. No dry cleaning, the kitchen's literally full of shit, your breakfast gets cooked by a drug dealer on a primer stove in a corner of the dining room, and your wardrobe's full of psychopathic moths. Krusty is worried that Philip's going off her as he pretended to be going somewhere and really he was going somewhere else. I can see why she'd be a bit twitchy, but it's not like her wedding's not going to happen for the second time because the bridegroom has either died in a freak drains accident or has a massive heart attack due to stress, is it? Is it? Oh. Anyway, really what he was doing was finding a wedding venue, which he has done. It is a hut on top of a hill called Parker Knoll. He said it was a hill like Lakey Hill, just in case Krusty wasn't sure what a hill was. He then pointed out that there were views all the way round. Yes, that is what happens when you are on the top of a hill. That is why people climb up them. See Everest. Krusty, if he does expire before your nuptials, I'm beginning to think you'll have had a lucky escape. But don't do that screaming thing again, love, as you'll sprain something. Over at Bridge Farm, things are still as balmy as ever. Tony suddenly revealed his true colours as the world's only married incel when he declared that he was such an unreconstructed man that when they got married, Pat did all the cooking. That's really shit having to cook at your own wedding. Anyway, he said proudly that he'd never made a cake in his life and referred to looking after his own children as babysitting. You don't walk your own dog and say you're a dog walker, Tony, you Burke. I want to know how you stayed married for 45 years, said Tom. And I think we're all beginning to wonder that, but not as keenly as Tom, whose wife left him after a month. Now, here's the thing. I love this. When they were in a cab coming home drunk from an unsuccessful cocktail evening in which Natasha had tried to thump Tom in the face when he accidentally woke her up, yes, it was that exciting, the happy couple had a hiccuping discussion about moving Natasha's fruit juice business to Bridge Farm. Not the trees, she said helpfully. Tom mentioned this casually to his father, who immediately said, without any consultation with anyone, yes, OK, let's build an extension onto the pack house. Another extension? Bridge Farm must be the size of Windsor Castle by now. Also, we've all heard Bridge Farm have a family meeting about whether or not to buy a book of 4 stamps or splash out on the 6 before now. But when it comes to the massive, huge financial decisions, yeah, whatever you decided when you try not to hoy down the side of an Uber. So, as this madness continues, Tom also manages to lose the ring of his wife's dead uncle in a cake, which sounds like a phrase Duolingo would try and get you to translate out of Mandarin Chinese. Anyway, I'm sure it'll turn up, hopefully in Natasha's esophagus. Now, as the cliffhanger of the week was Krusty saying, looks like we are going on that mini break then, which was straight out of the Crossroads playbook and also has made me hate Krusty as she uses the word mini break, I am going to finish with something else instead. They really, really are a bad-tempered, awful set of self-involved monsters at Brooker's. First of all, someone pops out of the farmhouse and says, what are you doing? And someone else says in a surly fashion that they are doing something deeply unpleasant, like scraping the yard or licking out the septic tank. The first person then says in an anguished voice, oh, but I was going to do that. Then the other person says nastily, yes, but you didn't, did you? Last week it was Ben and Josh. This week it was Ruth and David, practically word for word. Then Ruth said to Pip, well, mud sticks, talking about Josh, and Pip then repeated it back to her 2 seconds later. Have they got senile dementia or have we? Maybe it's a test. Marjorie Antiprus will turn up next week and they'll see if they get any calls. Check we're listening. Josh took his best tractor for a day out to the market, and knowing Josh came back with 2 more that he hadn't paid for, and the entire family were staggered that he was not welcomed with open arms. He hasn't even been cleared yet. Look at Freddie, he can't open a packet of Tic Tacs without Linda getting him in a headlock. Yes, you are an archer, but not everybody cares. Ben's birthday's coming up, and stupidly, just because his elder brother and elder sister were given cars for their 18th, thought he might too. Au contraire. Oh, Ruth, isn't the barn looking smashing after all the millions of pounds we spent on it? Yes, love, I think the champagne hot tub and the remote-control sliding roof works really well. I'm so glad we followed our gut instincts and spent £75,000, having done a sum total of jack shit research. Don't be ridiculous, Ben, we don't have money for a car. Ben, why are you surprised? Have you not been paying attention? Ruth and David don't operate on normal parenting lines. They make Kim Kardashian look like Super Nanny. Unless you've got 4 legs and a tail, they're just not interested. Try dressing up as a cow, Ben. They'll take much more notice of you. And if nothing else, you might get a visit from the AI man. Happy birthday. The end.